Have a look at the UXMLReader. The UXMLReader is an internal Uniface component that enables you to parse XML documents stored in files, fields, or variables. It acts as an intermediary between the SAX parser and the SAX event handler. SAX stands for Simple API for XML, and the SAX parser is an event-driven parser. It provides a mechanism for reading data from an XML document, but unlike the DOM, which operates on the document as a whole, the SAX parser operates on each piece of the XML document sequentially. The idea here is that you provide the callback methods and the parser invokes them as it reads the XML data. The event handler is where you code the callback operations. Therefore, this is a Uniface component that you need to create. Some of those operations are start document, end document, start element, end element, and so on. We'll see them in more detail during the demonstration. The UXMLReader has three operations for you to call. The set handler, you call this operation to specify who is the event handler component. Parse, to parse an XML stream, and parse file, to parse an XML document in a file. Let's have a look at the UXMLReader. To use the UXMLReader, first you need to instantiate it. After instantiating the UXMLReader component, you must call the setHandler operation to specify the component instance of the SAX handler. Remember, the handler is a Uniface component that you create, which contains at least one SAX callback operation. If you want your form to also be the event handler, you can use $instance name as a parameter. Next, you call the parse file operation to start parsing your XML file. While parsing the file, our sample populates the fields of entity dept_nm using the SAX callback operations located in the operations trigger. We'll have a look at this later during the demonstration. You can choose if the parser will or will not validate the file by setting the Boolean value to true or false. The parse file operation invokes the SAX parser, which will call the SAX operations of the handler instance. The callback operations are called in a particular order. The start document operation is activated when the parser starts reading the document. The start element operation is activated when the parser finds a start tag. It has two in parameters, pname, which contains the name of the start element, and pattr, which contains a list with the attribute names and their values. The characters operation is activated when character date is encountered between a start tag and its end tag. The end element operation is activated when the parser encounters an end tag. And the end document operation is activated when the end of the document is reached. If any handler operation returns a negative value, parsing stops and the parse operation returns with that negative value. While parsing the file, populate the fields of your own entity using the SAX callback operations located in the component's operations trigger. Okay, let's have a look at the UXMLReader demo. In this form, we're going to select the XML file to be parsed and then press the parse button. So behind the scenes here on the detail trigger, we are instantiating the UXMLReader. And then, using the handle, we are going to call its operations. The first operation to be called is the setHandler to inform who is the event handler component. In this case, it is this form because the callback operations were coded here. Next, we call the parse file operation, informing the name of the file to be parsed. The second parameter, false, means that we don't want the XML parser to validate this file. The parse file operation invokes the SAX parser built into Uniface and the SAX operations of the handler instance, which are coded here as operations. I'm now going to debug this code so we can have a look at how these operations are called. Okay, let's browse here and choose the form, the file that we created before, and we press parse. The first thing is to instantiate the UXML reader, then to call set handler and pass in $instance name, which is the name of the form where we are. The next thing here is to call the parse file and inform the name of the file that we are going to parse. And you can see that immediately after that, the operation, the callback operation, is start document is called. This is the first operation to be called. And if the parser then encounters a tag, the start element is called. The tag that I found here is department, but it doesn't have any attributes. So the list of attributes is empty. Then the characters operation is called. And then again the start element is called because the department tag was found. Here you can extract information from the list of attributes. In this case, create a record on the table, and so on. Now the end element is called because an end tag has been found. And then it will carry on doing this all the way through the end until it calls the end document operation. And then back into the detail trigger, the last thing to do is to delete the instance of the XML reader component.